Okay, so let's go ahead and make our texture. All right. Now the one we're looking at here is the what the texture looks like in the rendered scene that I showed you in the previous video. Uh, so the template that you see here is just for positioning. When you export the final one back to 3ds Max, you want to make sure you have that layer turned off, right? We don't want to see black lines on the edge of everything. There's no reason for that. That's a common mistake to leave that on. Okay, so it would look like this. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to build this more or less, but everybody should make their own unique, make it your own thing. But I would recommend having this general look of graffiti covered with weird signs and stuff like that. It's just sort of a fun way to work, and when we do a few other pieces, they'll all kind of tie together. Move myself down here somewhere. Okay, so what you want to do first is open your template in Photoshop. Okay, and I am in Essentials workspace. Okay, window workspace. All right, so I don't know how much experience everybody in here has in Photoshop, but what I'll try to do is, say exactly how I do everything, and you should be able to get the hang of it more or less. So first of all, we need to have like a base texture for this thing, right? Like this is the one I have for this, right? It's a concrete texture, okay? So let's go online, right? Now, and I went to Google image search, right? And if you look for concrete, there's a fair number of things that look pretty good here, but there's a lot of stuff like concrete blocks and people pouring concrete and things like that that aren't useful, right? So the secret word you want to use to find only what you want is texture, okay? So if you do concrete texture, then you'll find just things that 3D artists use the word texture, okay? So I'm going to go to tools and size and make sure I'm looking for large stuff. When we go for the graffiti and signs and things like that, they don't need to be large, but this is covering the whole image, so we want it to be pretty big. So you don't want anything with obvious structural characteristics like this or these. And also try to avoid anything with like a light source that looks obvious. None of these really have that too much, but maybe this one here where it's bright on one side, because the object you're making is going to be illuminated by the lights in the scene. So any lighting that picks up, it's particularly a problem if you're using metal. Concrete's not so bad because it's more matte. And I'm going to go back up near the top. Let's see what I got here. 1640 by 1040. So, and you want something that's kind of interesting, but like the right scale. See, like this is too, you're looking at it too close, right? So the objects are then going to appear too big. Oop, that's little. This doesn't look bad. And also make sure, see, this has watermarks on it. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but it's almost hard for me to see it. And that's these stinking stock agencies infiltrate everywhere, and they make it, even this one has it. Sometimes you can just go to a site that has free textures and make an account or something like that. This first one's too plain. Sorry, should have picked one out in advance, I guess. All right, I'm gonna try this one. It's not quite as big as our images, which is 2048 by 2048, but I'm gonna right click and copy image, all right? And it should give you, if you right click over here, okay, it's just gonna give you the thumbnail, a smaller image. But if you click on it and right click here, it should give you the actual full size image. You'll know when you go to paste it on. And certain places that want you to log in or make an account or whatever will kind of like fake it so you don't get the real thing, even though it shows up in a large image search. Anyway, I'm going to go edit paste, and that'll be okay. So I'm going to say Control T and scale this thing. Control T is a shortcut to edit free transform. Right there, see the Control T? Okay, some stuff's getting left off the sides. When you're transforming it, it looks fuzzy, but when you hit the check, it should clean up. That'll work, okay? All right, now let's put we can't see the template now, right? So let's put the template on top. When it's a background, it won't let you drag it up. So we got to double click on it, on the empty part, and they'll turn into layer 0, and then we can drag it to the top. Okay. Now, we can use a blending mode. See where it says normal there? We can use a blending mode to get it so it only shows the light or dark part of the layer. Okay, so if I just change the blending mode to screen, okay, there it's working. I don't know if you guys can see it. The lines show, but they're very hard to see. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. And what I'm going to do is invert this layer. Okay, so it's black lines on white, and then I'm going to use a blending mode to show that, and it's going to look better. So Control I is how we invert a layer, makes a negative. Okay, and now I'm going to change the blending mode. The two blending modes we want are screen if you're trying to show light stuff, and multiply if you're going to show dark stuff. Okay, so there it is, perfect. I'm going to name my layer template. I just double clicked on the name of it. And this one's concrete. I probably won't name all the layers, but doing a few of them. All right, so let's get some good looking stuff on here. Back to Explorer, graffiti. All right, let's try some graffiti. If you look, where am I here? On this one, I have like lots of graffiti on here, right? All kinds of stuff painted on signs, and you want to try to make it look natural. I mean, like if somebody's tagging something, right, the tag is not going to be half on the object, right? It's going to be completely on, because that's nobody would make a tag that's half on, you know. I mean, it makes it look photoshopped. Oh, one thing about this layout here, this is from 2015. It's just, I kind of like the way it looked. But one thing I did differently this time that I wouldn't normally do is you'll notice there's only one arch, okay? And that's because when we were unwrapping and packing the UVs, I pasted one on top of the other, okay? And if you're making a rendering, that's fine. But what happens then is all this writing is going to be the same on the back, but backwards. Right. So if you were using it in a game, that would not be kosher at all. It would be pretty lame. So when we unwrapped it this time, I didn't do that. Right. Here's one, here's the other. Okay. So let's see how we can do some graffiti. If I just do a search for graffiti, I find all this cool stuff that's interesting looking, but I can't use it. Right. It's just not going to, it's going to be hard to integrate. So if I do graffiti tag, then I get a lot of stuff more like what I want. And oddly enough, even this stuff has watermarks on it. I mean, like, why? Well, whatever. So if it's black on white or white on black, you can use blending modes again, just like we did with the template, to get it to get rid of the white background. You can also select and delete the background. Watermarks everywhere. What if I do graffiti tag no watermark? It's not gonna work, right? No. I'm gonna go back to this. I'll find one. Okay. You can, spend forever looking through these or make your own, go scribble on a building and take a picture of it. I'm just going to use, just as an example here, I'll use New York. All right, whatever, fresh. Okay, so copy image and go back to Photoshop, Control V to paste. All right, so here it is. And I'm just going to change the blending mode to multiply, right? So it only shows the dark stuff. All right. It's got some extra junk on the bottom there. I'm just going to go get my rectangular marquee tool, select around the stuff I don't want, just hit delete, and then select, deselect. All right. This is my move tool here. So fresh, that's kind of lame, but well, it works for the moment. Now, if I wanted that that to be white graffiti, right, just like we did with the template, Control I to invert the layer and change the blending mode to screen. Okay. Darken and lighten also work, and the names are a little bit easier to remember, but the screen and multiply are better in more situations. Okay. I'm going to Control Z that a little bit because I prefer the black. All right, I'm going to keep the template on top, I guess. Doesn't really matter where it is, as long as you can see it. All right, let's go. So I would get more graffiti and stuff. Let's get some drippy stain textures. All right, like like this one here. Now this is kind of weird. I don't know what I was thinking in 2015, but I put dripping stains that are dripping down, and I put them on the bottom of wherever there was a bottom, and made it and kind of like soft erase the top of it. So it looks more like it's the opposite of dripping down. It looks like it's leaching up sort of from the base where it stood in water or something. But I'm not feeling that way this year. I want to put drips on the top. Okay, so now these things with the checker boxes, that implies that there's transparency in those images. But that JPEGs don't have transparency, right? There's no alpha channel in a JPEG. Only PNG files do, okay? But if I right click on this and save as, you'll see that it's a JPEG, okay? And in fact, I think all of these are. So what that means is these companies or whatever want you to log in and make an account and pay or something like that. So they're kind of faking you out here. Don't fall for it. How about this one here? Ooh, the associated ones, there's a lot of nice looking ones there. All right, I'm going to try this one. Copy image. Then I'm going to go back to Photoshop. Control V to paste it. All right. Now I can try messing with the blending mode, use multiply to just put the dark stuff down. All right. So the thing is, it's darker than this. What's here is somewhat darker than the background. So I see the edge, which I don't want. Now I could just go to the eraser tool. Okay. I just right click to get this controller up and, erase the bottom of it like that. That's not bad, but I still see this dark stuff around it. So what we could do here is go image adjustments, brightness, contrast. And if we just crank up the contrast somewhat and maybe the brightness. We can get it so it's so you don't see that dark stuff as much, okay? And then I'm also going to use my eraser and erase the bottom edge of it, all right? Okay, so here, this is going to be dripping down on the top. I'm going to duplicate this layer. I can just drag it to the new layer icon. That's one way to do it. And bring it over here like this. Control T. If I hold Shift down, it lets me do it asymmetrical. Okay, so try to not get it anywhere else, but that's kind of cool, right? And I'm going to merge this layer down so they're both on the same layer. Right click, merge down. Okay, I'm going to make a copy of that. All right, and I'm going to put it Control T for free transform, rotate it, hold down Shift so it snaps to 180 degrees, and put that there, right on the other top. And let's see. The last thing, I think it makes sense that it should be this over here is the outside of this thing, right? So I'm going to make one more copy, drag it to the new layer icon. Control T to rotate that back. All right, I'm going to use my selection tool to just get rid of half of it. Delete. Select, deselect, move tool. I'm going to put, it's okay if it runs off, I think. Okay, so that way it's going to be stained all the way around the top. Yeah. All right, let's go. Gonna save now, save as, and this one, it's not the template, right? The template's a separate file. It's just a one-layer JPEG. And you might want to use it again for some purpose. This is the arch texture. Okay, Photoshop document. Let's go and see what else. Some kind of signs are fun, right? And for whatever reason, I like Russian signs because they just look kind of cool and obscure, right? Now, if you use a sign that's not square like this one, you're going to have to go and distort it to return it to squareness. So I'm just going to make life easy for myself and try to find one that's already square. Freaking watermarks are on everything these days. What the hell's going on here? Let's see. All right, I'm trying to avoid ones that look like they're made in Photoshop or, an actual natural looking sign. And I like them if they're aged and dirty looking. Copy image. Next Photoshop. Control V. All right. We could use a mask on this. It's not perfectly square, but I think it's close enough. Okay, so I select around the thing I want, select inverse, hit delete, select, deselect. And then I got this guy. So where to put it, I don't know. I could put it up here, maybe underneath the graffiti. You know, so it looks kind of like layered and rich and lush. You can do all kinds of things, right? Bullet holes. Please don't show me dead bodies. Yeah, perfect. Stuff like this, you know, you can go here, copy image, Control V. And now let's see how to do this, right? If I change the blending mode to multiply and only show the dark stuff, that doesn't work too bad, actually. If I change the blending mode back to normal, I could use the magic wand tool, which is in the upper right here. If you hold down, it might not be up the one on top, but magic wand tool, and just, sorry, this has to be, this is set to contiguous, not sample all layers. This might be getting a little deep into Photoshop, but you can also use the magic wand to delete the white stuff. Actually, I think that the blending mode worked better. Multiply. And those are really gigantic bullet holes, right? So we want to scale them down quite a lot. Now, put them wherever you want. Okay, so just like work on this for a while and try to make it look pretty awesome. Okay, I'll make another video with some more tips on how to do stuff. These warning signs are kind of fun too. All right.